This video continues Chapter 6, Anatomy and Physiology, by focusing on the structure and function of the largest organ in the body, the skin, and its associated structures in the integumentary system, like hair and nails. So the whole integumentary system consists of skin, specialized skin cells that give us hair and nails, and then those associated structures like sweat glands and oil glands. Now, principally, what does the skin do? It provides a barrier from the other systems and the outside world. The skin is the body's largest organ, covering the entire outside of our other systems and providing that barrier. And it's divided into two major layers, the epidermis, and we have that prefix epi, meaning outer, and the dermis below that. Now, the superficial or outside epidermis is where we find pigmentation, and it has the job of principally protecting us from the environment. Deeper, we have the structures in the dermis, such as fine blood vessels or capillaries. We have nerve endings that are sensory and will send an impulse toward the brain that then can be received and interpreted, and perhaps a return message headed the other way to, say, muscle for motor function. And the dermis is where, because it's associated with many of those other structures, is going to be the more elastic of the two layers. Below that, we get the subcutaneous layer, which is essentially the fatty tissues. Now, in addition to that major function of protection of the body, providing a barrier that helps us from pathogenic organisms, or even in some regards, maybe chemical irritants and so on, the skin and the integumentary system provide for regulation of body temperature and fluid balance. Those fine blood vessels, the capillaries in the dermis, can open up and dilate and allow for the loss of heat. If you imagine someone whose skin gets very flushed when it's hot outside, consequently, those vessels will constrict if maybe it's cold outside and we want to shunt some of our body heat more towards our body's core. In addition to that, to help control with temperature regulation, the sweat glands that we find in the dermis allow for evaporative cooling. The skin is the largest organ in the body, and its major function is as a protective barrier. It's also essential for regulation of body temperature, and we'll consider these things when we look at soft tissue injuries and we look at environmental injuries, both heat and cold.